Alright, so the main premise of doing this is to get good results. And I would say that Maya does a pretty good job of this, but it took 15 minutes to do it. And so, clearly, if you've watched any of my other videos with Blender, it takes like 5 minutes, maybe at best, or worse. So, think about that for a second. Again, be smart. What I'm going to do here is just basically take a clone stamp brush and touch up this map a little bit. Now if I want to do this on a different layer, it would probably be the smartest method. So here, let me take and make a new layer here. And instead of clone stamping, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to take the information here and copy it. So edit, copy, merge, edit, paste. Then I'm going to move that information over here. Okay, then I'm going to take the eraser tool and eraser back on this layer with a smaller brush. And then change the exposure. Until it blends in. I might have to do this a couple times. So I got the bottom half patched up pretty good. The top half needs to be touched up a little bit more. But that's how I fix the ambient occlusion maps. Okay, in this case I'm just going to eraser this back. Just it out a little further. So I'm just feathering this in place. Cool. Now it's going to appear in back of everything, so it's not so detrimental that I get it repaired perfect. But the next thing I could do is Control E and take this tool, the patch tool, kind of highlight the area, super shift it over. So that'll blend it a little bit better. I had to get some beginning values to work with though for that to work. So there, that works a little bit better. So here's an area that I didn't do that at. Let's see if it works. Oh, that works too. Good. And I'll just touch up some of this stuff. Using a hard edge brush or the clone stamp, I'm just going to copy some of this, and white that out. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now let's look at the normal map. Okay, same deal. Right here I have this clipped area. This time I'm just taking a brush and superimposing it off. Then I'm going to use the blur tool to blur these out. Again, if you did this on another layer, it should be a little bit better. That way you can adjust it after the fact. So I can image adjustment levels and see if I can get this a little darker to match everything else. Right about there. And then I'll take the blur tool and blur anything like this line right here. 100% blur should knock it right out and fade it in. Okay, clone stamp this. This is a big old hot mess. I can use all layers. That way I can be on my editable layer. Some of these details right here I want to blur. There we go, that looks pretty good. This area right here, I just want to blur out a little bit. Using my spacebar, I can jog over. This one I'm going to have to go onto the bottommost layer to blur it. There we go, that looks a lot better. Okay, pretty happy with the results there. Not as, I don't know, I would also probably look at the fact that, you know, I could try this in Blender a little bit to see if I can get better results, but for right now, at least you guys know that you can do this in Maya too. So if you want to watch any of my previous videos, this is all possible in Blender. You could do the shell, the everything, and then export it there. So here's my normal map. I'll save that as 24-bit TGA. Here's my OCC. I can now convert that to TGA. And in Maya, we're going to look at the results. So here I have a huge mess. The first thing I'm going to do is go File, Optimize Scene Size. Hit OK. This will get rid of everything except for these two. Okay, then I'm just going to relink the maps because right here this wants Power OCC TIFF. I want Power OCC TGA. This one should be good. I'm going to double click these so I can get real-time results. Look for my material that's housing all this. In this case I have this one. Okay, and just make sure that these are all being linked correctly. This one's happening in the diffuse channel. This one's happening in the normal map channel, or bump. Everything's tangent space for the bump. That's good. Now if you look here, this map is not being ran into the actual color channel. It's being ran into something else. Diffuse. Okay? Well, really, an occlusion map does go in diffuse. But we paint on it too and use that as information to like darken areas for the actual texture. So let's kind of compare it side by side. There's going to be some anomalies, but we can paint some of those out. I could take my Lambert, the trans material, and then I can move this back too. So there we go. All the res detail from high over to the low. And we're talking really low. Let's go display, show, heads up display, polygon count. Our final polygon count for this one is 411 faces, 820 tries. This one, we have 100,118. Okay, a couple things I'm just going to do here. Normals, soften edge. Okay, that should improve it a little bit. And also, I do not need some of these edge loops here. I can get rid of edge loops after the fact. Double click, control right click, to edge loop, and delete. Okay. Control right click, to edge loop, and delete. Now I can't delete edges that have texture borders. So if you see something like this happen, undo it. Okay, we can also scoot these around to make the normal map a little bit better. We can tighten up that normal map, just like that. If you see anything like this happen, you better back it up just a little bit. So it looks like I deleted an edge there. So be very careful about what you delete. Some other things you could do is go in the object itself, go to vertices, control right click to shell. Vertices, control right click to shell. And parts like this, I might be able to average out the vertices. So that gave it a little bit more of a round appeal to it, but it destroyed this nut. So I'm going to choose to only do that from here out. Okay, there we go. Now it has a more organic feel, and I could just pump up the vertices in this area. get a more handle look. Alright, good. So now that we're done with that, we could paint color, but I've done that as a tutorial already. My main concern was to show you how to transfer the actual detail from an object over to an object via normal map. If you want a coloring lesson, I would say you back up a little bit and look at the one I did using Blender or Photoshop. Okay? So enjoy. Let's move on to the next video.